The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People by Stephen R. Covey. Book Summary. Stephen Covey's The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People is a book which argues that you can change both your professional and personal life for the better by adopting 7 specific habits which, if adhered to, will transform your life for the better. Stephen Covey was an American educator, author, businessman, and keynote speaker who wrote several books on the topic of maximizing personal potential. These include The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People, First Things First, Principle-Centered Leadership, The 8th Habit, and The Leader in Me: How Schools and Parents Around the World Are Inspiring Greatness One Child at a Time. When The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People was published in 1989, it became a publishing phenomenon, which has been printed in many languages and which has sold over 30 million copies worldwide. As a result of its popularity, Covey was named one of Time magazine's 25 most influential people. He had also worked as a university professor prior to his death in 2012. As one would expect from the title of his book, Covey outlined 7 key habits, which he believed everyone needs in order to become highly effective. Before delving into them, though, he is keen to outline why habits are important. Habits, he argues, express our characters as people, and so the habits which we have are indicative of who and what we are. For instance, a dishonest person will have a habit of lying. An honest person will try to tell the truth. But beyond expressing our existing character, our habits are also fashioned in order to reinforce our character and indicate who we want to be. And because habits have this cyclical relationship with our character, it is vital that we have good habits in our daily lives. And so this brings us to habit number 1, which is to take initiative. In other words, we should be proactive in our lives. Don't just wait for something to happen, go out and make it happen. It should be noted here that Covey does provide a word of caution, that there are some things in life we do have to learn to just accept. But for everything else, if we take the initiative and are proactive about doing something positive more often than not, we will be rewarded. Covey refers to this proactive approach and the chain reaction of positive events which it can set off as private victories. Habit number 2 in the Covey 7 Habits is to envision the life that you want to have. Covey argued that we should have a clear idea in our mind's eye about who we are at present and who we want to be. Then ask yourself why it is important for you to achieve this and keep that at the front of your mind on a daily basis, so that everything you do aligns with those principles and goals. Habit number 3 is to always prioritize things that are important over things that are urgent. We all have lists of things in our head that we need to get done, and without even doing it consciously, we are constantly assigning a priority scale to these, in terms of what needs to be next and what can be left off for a few days or weeks. Typically, we rank these according to what is urgent, i.e., what is time-sensitive, and we often do this at the expense of what is truly important. Covey argues that with Habit 3, we need to reserve that to prioritize the things that are truly important for our better development. Habit number 4 concerns our relationships and how we should seek mutual benefits with people. Here, Covey argued that when we are tackling a problem with someone or negotiating with them about a thing, we should always strive to come up with a solution or resolution which is mutually beneficial for both parties involved. This means both parties can feel like they benefited from the situation, and it serves to strengthen and encourage relationships, which in turn improves the quality of future collaborations. Habit number 5 is to listen and try to understand others, and try and do this before imposing our own perspectives. So, when we are involved in negotiations, often as individuals, our automatic impulse is to try to get across our own perspective as clearly as possible, and we will generally lead with that. This is a natural instinct, but Covey suggested that we would often be better off trying to understand the other person's perspective before we ever seek to convey our own. This creates better empathy and understanding, and often the other person will appreciate the fact that you try to hear them out first before introducing your own viewpoint. Habit number 6 is to collaborate to create possibilities. Collaborating with other people, what Covey called synergy, enables individuals to achieve more than they otherwise would on their own. This is the idea that 1 + 1 = 3. Moreover, regular collaboration opens up the possibility of new opportunities arising unexpectedly down the line. And so we come to the seventh and final habit, which is to practice self-renewal. By this, Covey meant that we must keep ourselves mentally and physically healthy in order to avoid burning out, and so that we can stay productive. If we let our mental and physical health decline, it will become so much more difficult to maintain our commitment to the other 6 habits. So, to stay mentally and physically sharp, we should practice what he calls self-renewal, by making time for ourselves to renew who we are, whether through a walk in the park or a period of calm reflection. This will reduce the possibility of stress and burnout and ensures that we will stay on top of the other habits. There are a great many other aspects to Covey's book, including sage advice on learning to say no and the importance of prioritization. But the core of Covey's approach are the 7 habits. Stick to them as outlined in Stephen Covey's The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People, and in no time you can begin to transform your personal and professional life for the better.